What if, one day, the entire world just stopped eating meat? And not just meat. No more cheese, no more eggs, no more milk. Imagine a world where everyone from New York to New Delhi decided to go vegan. Maybe it's for health, maybe it's for the animals, or maybe it's a last-ditch effort to save the planet from climate change. Whatever the reason, suddenly juicy burgers, fluffy omelets, and cheesy pizzas are off the menu. Forever. Even ice cream is a thing of the past. So, would this massive dietary shift actually save the planet? Would it make us all super healthy? And what in the world would we do with all those cows? This is What If, and here's what would happen if everyone in the world became vegan. It might sound like a far-fetched scenario, but the vegan movement is growing faster than you might think. In the US alone, there are now over 20 million vegans, which is a massive jump. 6 times more than there were just a few years ago in 2015. You see it everywhere. Tofu is no longer a weird niche product. It's a star player on restaurant menus. Supermarket aisles are overflowing with dairy-free milk alternatives made from oats, almonds, and soy. What was once considered a radical lifestyle choice is quickly becoming mainstream. But what if it wasn't just a trend? What if it became the global standard? The impact would be enormous, starting with our planet. Did you know that the food we get from animals is responsible for a quarter of all greenhouse gas emissions? A full quarter. And the biggest culprit: cows. Every single year, the world's cattle population leaves a carbon footprint equivalent to all the cars, trains, ships, and airplanes in the world combined. That's a staggering amount of pollution. But how exactly does a cow contribute so much to global warming? Well, it comes down to their digestion. There are about 1.5 billion cows on the planet right now, and each one of those cows releases up to 120 kilograms of methane gas every year, from burps and other ends. And here's the scary part. When it comes to climate change, methane is 23 times more powerful at trapping heat than carbon dioxide. On top of that, think about all the land these animals require. Livestock takes up a mind-boggling amount of space, as much as 2/3 of all agricultural land on the planet. That's land that could be used for something else. So in our all-vegan world, things would change dramatically. With no more demand for beef, we'd free up all that pasture land. We could use it to restore native forests and grasslands. These revitalized ecosystems would act like giant sponges, pulling massive amounts of carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. We'd also start growing a wider variety of crops to fill the gaps in our food supply. The result? Livestock-related gas emissions would plummet by an incredible 70%. The air would be cleaner, and we'd be taking a giant step back from the brink of climate catastrophe. It sounds like a perfect solution, right? A cleaner planet, a healthier environment. But there's a flip side. What would happen to all those farm animals? We're talking about billions of chickens, pigs, sheep, and cows. With no more demand for grilled chicken or roast beef, these animals would suddenly become redundant. The transition would be brutal. Billions of them would likely be slaughtered or simply abandoned. Some animals, like certain breeds of sheep and pigs, might stand a chance of returning to the wild. But even then, their populations would plummet as they face predators they've never had to deal with before. But for others, the outlook is even bleaker. Think about broiler chickens. They've been so genetically modified for rapid growth that they're a world away from their wild ancestors. They wouldn't know how to forage for food or escape a predator. They simply couldn't survive in the wild. Their only hope might be in animal sanctuaries, where they could be cared for until their species eventually dies out. It's a sad, complicated ethical dilemma, with no easy answers. And the impact isn't just on the animals. It's on people too. Your friendly local butcher would be out of a job. So would millions of farmers around the globe who have spent their lives raising livestock. Sure, they could potentially pivot to growing crops or working on reforestation projects, but that's not a simple switch. On a massive scale, rural communities that built their entire economies around supplying milk, eggs, and meat would face devastating unemployment. The economic shockwaves would be felt most intensely in developing countries. For countless communities, livestock isn't just a business. It's a way of life, a form of currency, and a vital source of trade. A sudden global shift to veganism would trigger major economic disruption, potentially pushing millions of people into poverty. Okay? So the economic and animal welfare pictures are complicated, but surely we'd all be healthier, right? A world without bacon and cheeseburgers has to be a healthier one. Or does it? Adopting a vegan diet doesn't automatically equal a healthy diet. You can be a vegan and live on potato chips and soda. To be a healthy vegan, you need to be smart about it. When you cut out all animal products, you risk missing out on some vital nutrients. Many vegans have to be careful to get enough calcium, iron, vitamin D, zinc, and especially vitamin B12 and omega-3 fatty acids, which are much easier to get from animal sources. Meat, eggs, and cheese are incredibly efficient sources of protein. In our vegan world, you'd need to compensate by eating a lot of beans, soy, and lentils to get the protein your body needs. But if everyone did it right and followed a well-planned vegan diet, the health benefits could be astounding. We'd see a significant drop in rates of coronary heart disease, strokes, and type 2 diabetes. Global mortality rates could fall by up to 10%. That translates to 8 million fewer deaths every single year. The economic savings would be equally massive, up to $1 trillion saved annually on healthcare costs and lost productivity from sick days. But here's a crucial catch. This rosy health picture mainly applies to the developed world, where overconsumption is a problem. In many developing countries, over 2 billion people are already facing undernourishment. For them, meat and animal products are a critical source of calories and nutrients. Taking away that lifeline wouldn't make things healthier. It would make a dire situation even worse, leading to more widespread malnutrition. So, forcing the entire world to go vegan overnight seems a bit extreme. It presents a messy web of economic, ethical, and health challenges that are difficult to untangle. But the problem it aims to solve, the massive environmental footprint of the livestock industry, isn't going away. If we keep eating animal products at our current rate, we will eventually have to deal with the consequences of all those greenhouse gas emissions. The good news is, it doesn't have to be an all-or-nothing choice. Luckily for those of us who aren't ready to give up meat entirely, there are cleaner, more sustainable solutions being developed to reduce emissions from the livestock industry. Things like changing animal feed to reduce methane production, capturing and converting manure into energy, and adopting more efficient farming practices. All that's left is to implement them on a global scale. The question of what we eat is deeply personal, but it has global consequences. So, what about you? After hearing all this, would you be willing to say no to that meatball pasta or cheeseburger tonight? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this glimpse into a possible future, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more videos from What If.